Greetings my peeps, I'm John the Verbose, and this video is my video for the YTpaganChallenge week 26 on do and how do you meditate. I am a Druid in the Reformed Druids of North America, and although I'm a Druid, I do not speak on behalf of all Druids, nor do I speak on behalf of the Reformed Druids of North America. My views and opinions I express are my own. So, I definitely do meditate, and that was part of my spirituality before I became a Druid, and to me it was just a means. It's like I was meditating in my own way. There are so many different forms of meditation, and so mine was just purely experiential, and so that's part of what I would love about going off into the woods when I was in college and just spending hours out there and maybe sitting over a fire, and that was my sacred flame, and I would just gaze into the fire. You kind of go into this altered state of mind, and I always do this without any controlled substances or anything. And I think, if personally, of my opinion, is that if you feel the need to use substances to alter your state of mind while meditating, personally I feel like you're doing something wrong. It shouldn't be that difficult. It's kind of, to me, it just seems like it would be cheating. Anyway, as for other meditations, it was important to me when I remember doing a meditation. It was kind of a visual and auditory form of escapism, and I was actually using some self-hypnosis techniques. And because there's one that I heard, it's like to do like some sort of self-hypnosis. Imagine yourself going down this escalator at a mall. Well, I don't go to malls, and therefore I'm not that familiar with escalators. Well, that's not entirely true. It's a fairly simple concept, but anyway, as from a nature-based spiritual standpoint, I preferred to think of my way of going into this altered state of mind as visualizing myself just drifting in a canoe on a lake, no oars, and there's a stream that the lake feeds into, and we don't know where the stream goes, and that's part of the journey. And so I'm starting to drift down as like the lake gets narrower and narrower and becomes the stream. And so that was how I would slowly get myself into the mindset over several minutes. And before I knew it, it's like my mind had reached this alpha state, which is, I was awake, but the alpha state is very much like a dream state. And though I was very much aware of things that were around me outside of my meditation, I was very much immersed. And I remember that meditation was so that I could discover my power animal. And it took its own turn and ended up being like an ancestral journey. And so I got to see some of my ancestors, and as if they were waiting there for me. It was really a remarkable thing. And then I was going deeper and deeper into my subconscious, and then the scenery was getting a little bit more chaotic. And that's when I was like, okay, my alpha state is starting to break down into something different. I didn't really care to go down there at that time because that wasn't the purpose of my meditation, and that was something that I could address at a later time. And so basically I slowly returned to just the present moment and brought myself to. And so I never was asleep, though it was very much dreamlike towards the end. Airplane, welcome to Minnesota. Also, where I work, I am enrolled in a mindfulness meditation course. And mindfulness meditation is probably one of the easiest forms of meditation, I think, is being aware of yourself and your surroundings and your sensations. And it's looking at it with the mind's eye, with a curious approach. And so it's more of, you're an observer of everything that's around you while you're meditating. And you start out with breathing exercises and posture, and so these courses are, it's not a course, well, yes, they're in a big meeting room at work. A couple times a week we have these mindfulness meditation sessions, and they're just like a half hour long each. And since I also work from home, I have the opportunity that I can phone in and just listen. I'm muted, so I don't disrupt anyone, and because they automatically mute everyone in the conference who is conferencing, and so even though it's over the phone, it's still easy. It's like even when you're in the mindfulness meditation, a few minutes in, it's still possible to go into that alpha state, and in the end, you're coming out refreshed and rejuvenated, and you've been awake the whole time, and it's almost like having a power nap.
Now inviting your awareness to begin to shower and spread down your chest and upper back, continuing to spread across your ribs and mid-back, and likely we'll find at some point our focus will drift, perhaps finding ourselves off some mental chatter, be it memories of the past, or worries of the future, or any other mental event. And when we find that we've lost our focus, remembering we're actually finding it as well, and letting that be an opportunity to remember that our focus will drift, our minds will chatter. And letting that be also an opportunity to practice non-judgment and non-striving. That is simply one more observation of what our minds tend to do. And when we discover that our focus has drifted, it's also an opportunity to practice gentleness and kindness as we usher our focus back to breath.
And it's a really rewarding thing, and it's something that you can do on your own or guided. And so I guess I'm fortunate that I'm able to bring myself into my own meditative state. Also, as a Reformed Druid, meditation is a very important and powerful aspect of Reformed Druid spirituality. And so there's even a portion of our main rituals that after we have the waters of life and the libation is returned to the Earth Mother, then we have our time for shared meditations, poetry reading, sermons, and there's supposed to be a moment, like a very long moment of silent meditation. And it's not guided, but the point of it is so much like a mindfulness meditation. And the Druids, we almost always have our rituals outside in nature. And so I take that time as an opportunity to just listen to the birds, listen to the whispering trees and the wind that blows through them, and just feeling all of the nature signs and kind of being one with it. It sounds very cliche, but it's worth it. And it's very effective, and it's probably one of my favorite parts of the ritual. In Reformed Druidism, probably I think this was developed in the 80s or maybe the 1990s, there is a form of a moving meditation. And I've showed this before in earlier videos, and at some point I want to make a standalone video about this, but it is the salutations of the day. And so this was developed by the late Eamon Bodfish, who was a Reformed Druid. And Eamon was also very much steeped in Eastern mysticism. I believe he was very much also a Buddhist. And he had developed a form of moving meditation for Reformed Druids that, to me, very much resembles Tai Chi, or maybe a form of, like, some people might describe it as being like Druidic yoga. And the one thing that you want to do with that is you'll want a staff. And so, I mean, what kind of a druid would be without their staff? Now, you can be a druid without a staff, but to do that meditation, it does require one, because you're going to lean on it at some point, and it's very much a part of your moving meditation. But basically, the salutations of day is it's something that you do at sunrise, noon, sunset. It's actually the 4 salutations of day, because there's the salutation of night, and so that is at midnight. And obviously, it's not something that everyone's able to do 4 times a day every day. Well, I mean, you might be able to do that, but it could get demanding. And so it's like you do it when you can and when you feel motivated, and then you try to do it a little bit more often than you actually do. And so that is one thing that I committed to memory. It's just a very simple exercise. Like for the sunrise one, it lasts slightly longer than the duration of a sunrise. And so basically, you have your staff, you're facing where the sun is going to come up over the horizon, and you go through these motions, and then you focus on your breathing and grounding, and it's all over in a few minutes, but it's also very rewarding too. So, like I said, that's one thing that I would like to have as a standalone video for, with the instructional, there's instructions to go with it in audio form as a background layer. I know that somebody did already. There is a video uploaded of the salutations of day, and it's just, they're just going through the motions, and it doesn't really, there's no audio to go with what you're seeing. So, but that, I mean, if you wanted to look at that, that's you can go to the website www.rdna.info, and you scroll down maybe like halfway, and then you'll see this little picture link that is this person. It's a stick figure holding a staff, and those are the instructions on the salutations of day meditation. So it's very accessible, and anyone is welcome to try it, of course. So I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes. This is all I had for today, so thank you for watching my video, and we will see you next week.